All right, everybody, happy Halloween. It's that time again. All the little ghouls and goblins will be out tonight. So anyway, I know there's quite a few people I've been seeing on Facebook that are being evacuated. Fires are going nuts out here in California. I went out this morning and I could actually smell it. We're like pretty far away from it, but I could still smell it out here in Orange County. But pretty nasty stuff. All right. Okay, so we can open up. If anybody's got questions, you can go ahead and unmute, come out. Gregory says here in Whittier too. Yeah, definitely. It's all Southern California. I think we can all smell what's going on out there.
Well, actually, you can actually see the blue haze on my street. There's some trees at the end of the street, like maybe 3 blocks away. I definitely know those trees are green. And I'm seeing a blue haze in front of them. So it's pretty strong. All right. So let me come to the point, sir. My YouTube channel got lots of views. Well, not lots, 300 views since September. I got like maybe 20 videos, maybe more. I'm not counting. My dilemma and inner inferiority complex, if I forget about what it is, am I really going down the right path with this thing? Because I get a lot of chatter. I passed out over at least 1,000 business cards. Yesterday I was at a small business conference, definitely 100 pass outs, engage people, talking to people. I picked up some views overnight, maybe 3 or 4. But the real dilemma comes down to is if I focus on my trading and don't do anything else, no teaching, no nothing, just get up, check my trades, take the dog for a 2-hour walk, come back, check the trades, set it down, and drink beer and watch TV the rest of my life. My trading individually is okay. It's just that I don't know if I'm going down the right path with this craziness of being a trade teacher. Now the wealth management side, that's going well.
Okay.
That part's going well. My partner is really jazzed up. He's a CPA, and his biggest mantra is not losing money. Now closing. Now here's fate. Yesterday I'm at the small business conference. I'm sitting down and I'm talking to a guy named Jerry Kutzenmont. I can't pronounce his last name. It's but it doesn't matter. Definitely a long time American, because you couldn't even tell how his last name would be. The bottom line is he's a multi-millionaire developer, and now he would like to have a meeting with us in middle November. So that part of the field goes well. And so I just wanted to get that out, because I'm really going through some jitteriness about pursuing the smaller venture and just turn around and focus on the bigger venture. So
okay, gotcha. Well, that's an important thing to do in any business, is really taking a good hard look at like where your true money comes from, and figuring out, what to focus on, what opportunities lie out there. I can tell you like one thing that you're not getting an accurate read on is what you're doing is you're going out to a lot of networking events and stuff like that, and those people probably necessarily aren't really interested in what you're doing. So it might be you're fishing in the wrong pond. When you create a marketing campaign, what you need to do when it comes to the traffic portion, the first piece is figure out who you're after. The second piece is figuring out, okay, what's the conversation that I can engage them with and show them how I'm the best solution for them. And then the traffic part comes in on the end of driving the right people into that message. If you're just out like just randomly talking to people that are random people, and you're shooting, you're trying to adjust the message or whatever, it's going to be very ineffective. If they're not truly interested, getting them over to your YouTube page is not going to be effective. And even if they do get there, you're going to see views, but then no activity. So again, it's not an accurate gauge of whether you've got something that is going to work or not. And it's definitely it's not the right way to go about doing that type of business. So if you're not going to go and do what it takes to actually build and drive that thing, then it is a waste of time. And and this is for anybody. If you're not going to, all of these things, like when you create a course and you want to sell it, or anything for that matter, a product, a service, a coaching, whatever it is, that's a business. If you don't treat it as such, it's probably not going to work. There's very few things you can just fling onto the wall and they're going to make money for you. And if you sit down and think about it realistically, you'll realize I'm right. That kind of thing just doesn't exist in our world. People buy into it. It's sold to us all the time, but it's not true. It's like the whole diet pill. Take the pill and shed all the pounds you don't want. If you don't know that's complete bullshit, it's time to learn. There is no get rich quick kind of scheme. There is, I'm going to tell you this, there's some people that have gotten lucky throughout history, and it continues to repeat. There is luck that you see as success, but the problem is it's not repeatable. When you have a system in place like the ACT system, where you can actually create a successful marketing campaign, that is a business if you drive it as such. We all know, in a general business scenario, it's all about buying something for X and selling it for Y and keeping Z the profit. So you have to understand the real costs involved. It's not just create the thing and put it out there and hope they'll come. I'm sure we all saw the movie Build It and They'll Come. I don't remember what it was called, but with Kevin Costner, that just doesn't work in the real world. You don't build something and then all of a sudden people beat a path to your door. You have to pave the road for them. So it's work, and it's time, and it's money. It costs money to run a business. To get a business up and running, it costs money. It's unrealistic to think it doesn't. And it's part of the reason why so many people go out of business so quickly. Like I quote Forbes magazine all the time. They talk about like 80% of businesses will fail in the first 18 months. Most of them had no idea what it would take to begin with. So they get in, they realize, hey, this isn't working, and they just give it up. So one of the things, Jim says Field of Dreams, that was the movie, Build It and They Will Come. But look at all this stuff, like in the ACT. Look at freedom formula, the very first lesson in the ACT workbook. That if you get a handle on that exercise, that's something that you should look at every opportunity with. Look at every opportunity with those goggles on. And basically, the freedom formula starts with your true freedom, what your freedom number is. But if you take that aside, if you just look at it from a business perspective, and you look at, okay, what am I selling? What's the cost of the unit? Whatever it is. If it's coaching, there's always a cost to it, even if it's not dollars out of your pocket. Like, let's say you sell a coaching program and it's a 1-year program, and you're going to spend an hour a week with the person that bought it. So your delivery on that program is 52 hours of your time. It's probably a lot more than that, because you have to prepare for each one of those hours. You've got to create the program and all the stuff behind it. So maybe let's just say it's 2 hours. So instead of 52, you've got 104 hours into the delivery of that program. So that's just the cost of delivery. Now, what's the cost to sell it? How much did it cost to drive the traffic or pay the sales commissions and all that? You need to get a handle on the realistic figure of how much am I going to make every time one of these things sells, and what kind of effort is it going to take to drive those sales. That's what that freedom formula is all about. And then you can look at it and say, okay, based on this number, this is how much I truly make on the sale of this particular item or thing or service or whatever it is. Now I know how many of these I have to move. I know how many sales I have to make per week, per month, and per year to generate the revenue that I want out of this product in my business. You might have 10 different products in your business. It might be a case of you might do one product on the front end to acquire the customer where you actually lose money. That's okay if that's part of your strategy. So this product could, cost you $10 and it costs you another $5 to sell it. So you got $15 in and you're selling it for $9.97. So you're going to lose $5 a sale. Now, some people would say, I can't do that. But what if you had a secondary product that 90% of your people bought that you made $500 profit with? Is it worth investing $5 to create a new customer that's going to give you $500? Yes, it is. So you look at each product as a strategy to move people through your process to your next sale, whether it's your product or someone else's. It's back to that whole maternity dress thing. The woman selling maternity dresses, she doesn't need to make any money on the first sale. In fact, she can lose money because she has an 18-year funnel. She knows what each one of those customers is going to need for the next 18 years, and she can make money off of every sale along the way. So it's really important that you look at your overall business for everything that you're doing. And, is this a lead product? Is this something just to get someone through the door so I can sell them a bigger thing on the back end? Or are you just wasting time with it? So that's a question that each one of you needs to ask yourself when you look at everything you're doing in your business. You're going to probably pick off, hey, there's a few things I'm doing that just don't make sense for my overall outcome. These are not in alignment with my strategy. So that's when it's time to start cutting. That's when you make cuts in your business. And I know I do this every once in a while. I do the same thing. I'll take a step back and I'll look at everything that's going on in my business, because I think I'm pretty similar to a lot of people, and I want to please everybody. And I know there's a lot of you that are in that situation. You're people pleasers. So you want to do everything for everybody, and it'll just eat you alive if you go too deep down that rabbit hole. It's good to specialize what you specialize in. Now, if you're building a bigger type of entity, and you're not the one that's doing everything, like that's my case too. It's been a long time since I actually did like turning of wrenches in the business. Like I have a hosting business that's profitable. It's profitable in mass. I don't make a lot off any given customer, but I have a great number of customers all running on autopilot in that business. So there's very little of my input. I've got a server administrator that he takes care of the servers, makes sure everything's up and running. So that's a good segment of my business. I would never consider cutting that. But when I get into other segments, like for a long time, I didn't really have a good web development team. I've fixed that now. I've got that dialed in, just like I've got the hosting company. But there for a while, every time I would take on a web development project, it would suck me in and it would take my time to run that thing. And I didn't like that. So I cut it for a long time until I was able to bring it back and have it fixed. So anyway, it's probably a very long drawn out answer to if what you're doing makes sense. But think of it also this way. If you look at your big money maker, and you decide, hey, I want extra revenue, or maybe long term, I want to put all my income on autopilot, so I want to start migrating, then it definitely makes sense to look at, okay, how can I do that? How can I move into a model where I can sell specialized knowledge? I can tell you this, there has been more millionaires made on the internet the last 15, 20 years selling specialized knowledge than any other sector of business. It's crazy. We can actually package and sell information across the internet now. And yeah, given the fact that there's all kinds of information out there for free, it would seem like that's almost an impossibility, but it's not. There's been literally more millionaires made selling specialized information across the internet than any other sector. It's crazy. So, you know, it's just like this. This is a perfect example. You know, this is something where I'm sharing specialized knowledge with you guys, and I have a big group. You know, occasionally there's more or less people that participate in the activities, like the calls like this. You know, we tend to have just a few percent actually show up at any given week, but it's all about, you know, the knowledge that's being shared and the support and the mentorship and all of that. So if you've got specialized knowledge in your category and you are the one that is kind of the top of the game, there is a tremendous amount of people that would want connectivity to you. Just like there's a great number of people that want connectivity to me, because they know if they have problems, I can make them go away like magic. And in your industry, you might have that same effect. So that is very much worth something. I know I believe in, you know, in serving more masses than just a handful. But there's some people that, you know, they don't do that. They'll charge an outrageous amount for their specialized information. That's okay too. You know, it's just whatever your game plan is. You know, a lot of people are selling info products for thousands of dollars, you know, and doing seminars for, again, thousands, up to tens of thousands of dollars. And it's working. You know, it's working because they have a process. They have a sales process, and they can bring somebody into the marketing on the front end, and they can get them to make that purchase. You know, and all it takes is creating demand and desire and eliminating objections and making the right offer. So it can be done, Gregory. Yes, it is absolutely doable. There's no doubt about it. But is it easy? No. Is it going to take some work? Yes. Do you need to follow the right steps? Absolutely. And it's not going to work haphazard, like just trying to talk to anybody. You have to value your time a lot more than what you're doing. You have to say, okay, if I'm going to spend my breath, I only have so many breaths left in me. If I'm going to spend my breaths, I want to make sure that they're going to the right person, a person that is interested in this and that I can help, and it makes a match. Not just, you know, talking to anybody that will listen. That's not the way to go. So hopefully that helps. But you know, in my opinion, I think you've got something really great, and I think there's a big market for it, and I think you should do very well with it if you get it into the right channel. You know, you just need to create the funnel and get it to the right people, and I think you're going to go. I think that's going to work for you. So, and it might actually wind up generating clients for your other business. You know, that's another way to look at it too. How do I use this thing to generate leads for my next thing? That's something I talk about every time I do a live event. Is I talk about the fact that you should be creating a new offer at the end of every timeline. You know, when you're creating your avatar timeline, it has a beginning and it has an end. Well, the end isn't necessarily the end of that avatar, or that avatar becomes a new avatar when they get to the end of the timeline. It's like, if you think of yourself as a prospect or an avatar for whoever, and basically you are where you are and you want something different, whatever that might be. Might be as easy as lunch. You might be hungry and you don't want to be hungry anymore. So somebody is going to sell you lunch. You know, they're going to have marketing that gets you to say, oh yeah, you know, that's what I want. I desire that. There's no objection, you know, so boom, done, easy. But they know at the end of that timeline, you're satisfied. They've taken you from where you were to where you wanted to be. You wanted to be full and happy. Now they know that timeline's going to start over again. The day is going to proceed and you're going to want dinner, right? So what can they do? They can offer you a special to come back for dinner. You know, a lot of us like variety, so we might want something different for dinner, but it's the idea that the timeline starts over. As soon as it's fulfilled, it starts over, because us as human beings, think about it, that's who we're selling to. It's human beings selling to other human beings, no matter how you slice it. The only person going to buy something from you is another human being, and we're all cut from the same cloth. So one of the core things about any human being, I don't care if they're from an infant to 110 years old, they always want something. Doesn't matter what it is. We're never happy. We're never absolutely happy with what we've got or who we are. We always want something more, something different. That's a timeline. If you can fulfill that, you can take that person to the end, you can count on one thing. The timeline's going to start over. They're going to want something next. If you can predict that, and you can either create a product or a service that fulfills that next step, you can continue to make money off each prospect forever. If you don't want to create products and services, you just want to generate leads, all you have to do is just become a lead generator for a particular timeline, have someone else fulfill it, make a commission on it. Sales is one of the highest paid jobs on the planet. Create that, make the sale, make the commission, let someone else deliver the product, let someone else deliver the customer support, let them worry about all of that. You just know, okay, now 3 months later, that person's on a new timeline. What do they need next? Connect them with the next vendor. Just like that. That's a way you make a lot of money over a very long time period without doing much work. You know, you create it. It's work in the beginning. We create the systems. But once you have a marketing system in place, it really literally can be as easy as just buying traffic to it. That is the coolest thing about this, is your ability to just buy customers. So that's a really cool deal. All right, so Jim wants me to take a look at his summitbusinessmarketing.com. So let me pull that up here and we'll take a look at that for you, Jim. I'll share the screen here so you guys can see what we're looking at. Okay, so let's see. All right, just right off the bat, there's a lot going on here. There's moving stuff. I see stuff chasing across the screen. The images are changing. It goes from message to no message. And there's just a lot of stuff. Like you roll over stuff and it's just like I'm bombarded here. It's like, what do you want them to do when they get here? We've got secrets, we've got web analysis, just there's a lot going on, and a lot of stuff down here. It's like my eyes getting pulled all over here. Chances are somebody is going to click, because you got so much stuff here, they're probably going to click on something. So that you have going for you. But I hate these things that come in and out. Nothing will piss me off more is if I'm trying to read something and then it disappears. And I think that from a general user perspective is not a good idea to try and jam all this stuff in here. So I would say from a conversion standpoint, your most important thing here is to get a conversion, whatever that might be. So one clean offer here, like click here to get better Google rankings. You've got, and again, the stuff is just coming up. Get 10 powerful SEO secret tips here. There's nothing really benefit driven about this stuff. When you're going to make an offer, it's got to be what's in it for me. Please send me my gift. So I would seriously work on your messaging here. What I would have is I would have something here, like maybe instead of all this stuff flashing in and out, maybe put some boxes up here for the choices of what someone might be interested when they get here. Like under the services, you know, if you had a web design, kind of like what you've got down here. Web design and web redesign. I don't think there's a need for 2 of those buttons here. Let's see, let me scroll down. I didn't scroll down yet here. Like this right here, appear on the front page of Google. What that is that's a feature. It's not a benefit. I talk a lot about this, features and benefits. A feature is what it is. A benefit is what it does. You should always be driving your benefits, not the features. Like clearly appear on the front page of Google. That's what it is. That's what we're talking about. But why would I want to do that? What's the benefit of it? You know, is the benefit to get new customers? Is the benefit to generate leads? Because that's what people think about. You know, they don't think about the features. They think about the benefits when they're laying in bed at night. Nobody wants SEO. I can't imagine anyone laying in bed at night thinking, man, if I only had SEO, life would be great. Because it's a feature. It's not a benefit. What they're thinking of is, my God, if I could only get enough people to purchase my products, if I could just generate new customers, or if I could get leads from my salespeople, then they wouldn't sit there and not have anything to do, and I could actually pay them to be productive. So I wouldn't have to worry about meeting payroll at the end of the week. That's the kind of things that they're concerned with. So if you can do like a deep dive in on your prospect, on your customer, like who is your customer? You know, who is it that you're targeting, and figure out, you know, what's important to them. Are they having trouble with payroll? Are they thinking the economy is bad and that's why their business is going down and they're losing customers? You could shine a light on the real problem, is their competitors are just beating them. Their competitors are stealing their customers because they're doing a better job at their marketing. Now, when you illuminate that, what you did is you just identified their problem. You made them aware of it. And now they're going to want a solution. So if you can take them and guide them down the path and educate them and show them you're the best prospect for them, then you're going to get them interested and they're going to be leaning forward. They're going to want to buy what you've got. And then you can make your offer and a sale will be imminent. So, and again, I'm not looking so far. All I've looked at from on this page is just from a user perspective. I've not looked at this from a technical SEO perspective at all yet. I'm just merely looking from a conversion standpoint here. Of if you're trying to get a conversion, it should be a very simple, very clean, easy. So what I would probably do, I would recommend taking this slider off. Any of you guys that have sliders across your pages, I'd get rid of them. It's like a circus going on. You don't want a circus. I would put buttons up here. That is like your main things. If you've got multiple avatars, figure out who they are. If one of your avatars is somebody that needs a website, then that's clearly a button that they self-select and they go into that section, and then you make them an offer to get them to opt in. If you've got people that want to drive traffic, figure out what that is, what the real goal is for them, and put a button for it. And then make them an offer that's very specific to them. Instead of having 5 different offers coming in and out, disappearing and appearing, for the one guy that's waiting for the right offer, he's going to be disappointed. And then, he might be reading it, and then before he has a chance to click the button, oh, it's gone. Where'd it go? How do I get it back? Am I going to sit here and wait for it to come back through? I don't know how many of these pages are going to come up. I don't know if it's gone forever. Back button, boom, gone. So it's about creating a clean user experience that is good for the user. In commerce, this was really important when we started building commerce sites 20 years ago. It was get people to exactly where they want to go with the least amount of clicks. So you've got to have very clear navigation, very clear instruction for them to get there. Like, they don't necessarily know there's stuff under these unless they roll over them. So if somebody just popped on here, don't assume they're going to browse through your menus. Assume that they need to see down here where they need to go. Like services, this is what the site's all about. It's not about portfolio and resources and all of this stuff up here. A lot of that stuff is just it's things they might want to go to, but this is what the site's all about. Web design, online marketing, business development, and full service online marketing for providers, just a tagline. But there's your 3 right there. That's what you're offering: design, marketing, and business development. Those should be the 3 buttons that are right here. Those should be right across here. Now, boom, people can click, click, click. Now they've got a page that's all about that, and an offer could be made that's appropriate. So from the user perspective, that's what I would say. Okay, so title tag here. When I roll over the top, I see the title tag is web design, SEO, online marketing services, Folsom, Auburn, Roseville. That's pretty much just a keyword stuff title. It's not really compelling. It's almost like keyword stuffed. The most important thing about titles now is when Google actually puts your page up, that's what's going to show is the thing that's clickable. So if you want to get people to click it, it's got to be compelling. It should have a call to action in it. It should have, allude to your offer, something that will get them to click. Description is the next most important thing. So let me take a look here at what that looks like. Okay. So description, we provide professional website design, online marketing, and SEO services in Folsom, Auburn, Roseville. Let me scroll across here. Okay, several cities, areas. Get a great looking site and better Google rankings, more web traffic, and new ideal paying clients for your small business, and then the phone number. Okay, so phone number used to be a good idea. That's a very bad idea at this point. Because if the phone number's there and they just want to call you, they don't click on the listing. So it sends a bad signal to Google that, hey, they didn't click it. Google doesn't know you called the phone number. They just know you didn't click the listing. So I would remove the phone number. I would say, click here to contact us, and then get them to click into the site. But again, it's a very long description without any punch, without any reason to, it's not giving me any action. There's no call to action in it. And again, it's features. Google rankings, better Google rankings. That's a feature. More web traffic. That's a feature. New ideal paying clients, that's a kind of on the right track. But in here for your small business, I don't know anybody that wants to be considered a small business. So again, it's the languaging. What do they consider themselves? Do they consider themselves a small business, or maybe an entrepreneur, or maybe a business owner? People have the, I think it's called, it's something about ego, um, egoic. That's what it is. It's egoic labels. People have these egoic labels of how they see themselves. Like if you ask someone who they are, they might say that, well, I'm a father, I'm a family man. That's an egoic label. That's how they identify themselves. If they ask, like, as far as a business, if their friend asks them, so who are you? What do you do for a living? They don't say I'm a small local business. They might say, oh, I own my own business. I'm a business owner, because that's their egoic label. They don't want to like crunch themselves down and make them look small. They want something identifying them as significant. So when you throw small into the package, you just cut their limbs off. So again, there's a lot of stuff at play here that has more to do with psychology than SEO. And if you haven't kind of figured out yet, that is the new SEO. It's user experience. Google's AI is figuring out what looks like a good site. Now, here's something about that. We've got SitePop. We've got the SitePop software, and I tell people, this is a fake it till you make it type software. It's built to give you a snowballing effect. It's built to send these search signals into Google initially so they pay attention to you, so they put you up so they can actually send real traffic to you. If your site is not prepared for that, when Google sends their real visitors that they value highly to your site and they don't get a good user experience, you're going to be shooting yourself in the foot. So this is a thinking man's game. You have to, it's not about just throw up a web presence anymore and stuff it with everything you could possibly do. You're building a mousetrap. You're building a marketing campaign. Everything you create, everything that you write, everything that you create a video on, anything at all about creation of any digital or real-time asset should be looked upon as a marketing piece. It's how do I use this? What is the purpose of each one of these assets? Every page on your website, except maybe your About Us page or your resources stuff or things that have nothing to do really with the business. Every page on your site should have a purpose. It should be either trying to grab someone's attention, generate a lead, create demand and desire, eliminate an objection, or make an offer. That is what every piece of your website should be focused on doing, and very specific to a certain avatar. That's why you can have an unlimited amount of pages on a website. You want to have sections. You want to segment your site out into sections of avatars. Think about how many different avatars do you have? That's how many buttons you should have on your homepage. Now, you might have sub-segments of avatars, like I use the real estate example a lot. You have buyer and seller. Those are your two big buckets. It's okay to put those two only on your homepage. Now, when they click the buyer button, you do it again. Okay, you say, of my buyers, who are my avatars? I got single moms trying to get a roof over their head. I've got growing families, and I've got bachelor pads. 3 egoic labels, single mom, growing family, bachelor. Now, you might have more, you might have less, but that's the idea. That's the concept. You want to segment them down, get the buckets with as few clicks as possible, get them to the language that they speak. Very, very important stuff there. Okay, so let's look at this from more from the SEO perspective here. So when I put summitbusinessmarketing.com into SEMrush, this kind of gives us a little bit idea what's going on behind the scenes. So there's 0 paid traffic here. There is very little organic traffic. It's down pretty much at the bottom of the barrel. And there's 10 keywords. The site ranks for 10 keywords. SEO and Folsom, it ranks at position 35. So if there's a lot of people, there's 30 people a month searching for that, SEO and Folsom. So keyword volume, this tells you what your opportunity is. If you got any of these keywords up to the top 3 positions, like number 1, 2, or 3, you would have a really good shot, like a 60% chance of getting a click. So a 60% chance of getting, you know, this number of people, 60% of that number to click. So what that means is if there was 100 people, and let's just say the number 1 slot, because that's 34%. If you had 100 people searching and you had the number 1 slot, if your title and description was good, I could almost tell you were going to get 34 clicks off of that. That's the average. That's the industry average for the number 1 slot. So if you've got 10, let's say, and you got the number 1 slot, you might get 3.5 clicks. Not really a lot. If it's going to cost you a lot to do that, you have to look at the opportunities here. Okay, here is competitors. Here's backlinks. This usually you want at least 10% no follow links. The difference between a follow and a no follow is a lot of sites will not put follow links by default just because they don't want to send the Google search engine off. They don't want to send the spiders outside their site. So they'll put no follow tags. Basically, it's an importance. They want to devalue the importance of links going outside their site versus links internally. So, a higher percentage looks a little less fishy. Again, over here, text links versus image links. You've got, a decent amount of image links there. Top anchors, Summit Business Marketing. Okay, Jim Kaspari. That's really good. Those are brand links. Those should be the highest number. But let's see, highly effective marketing copy in Folsom. It looks like you just don't have a good number of incoming links coming in here. There's 5 domains, 97 of your backlinks. You have 190 backlinks total overall. So half of your backlinks are coming from only 5 different websites. This one, 26 backlinks, has an, I don't know what that is. It looks like a period. So there's been an anchor text used as a period, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It almost looks like it's either a mistake or it's possibly some kind of a tactic that maybe that is, I'm not really sure. You might be able to keyword stuff something in there. But anyway, and then empty anchor. So again, this is not a real highly defined SEO type anchor portfolio here. Referring domains, here's Truckee Tahoe Law. So you got 91 links from, it looks like appearing to be a law firm. Peak Business University, 14 from there. Gearhead, Plugin U. So again, you don't have a lot of off-page optimization going on here. I didn't do a real deep dive in your on-page, but just from the title and description, those definitely need work. So from a overall, you got a lot of work to do. You got a lot of work here, Jim. Did you have any questions specifically on any of this? I know I kind of, hopefully you don't feel like I just, beat the tar out of you. Okay.
I was just unmuting myself. No, that's great feedback, John. I was aware of a lot of it, but it really helps to have the whole picture, and hopefully it helps other people. Really, before getting links, before doing any paid traffic, I really need to change the user experience, and really switch. I mean, I coach people in this in my business all the time, but it's all about results, benefits, emotions, not the features. So that I got to do that for my own site.
Yeah.
And then work on the backlinking strategy.
Yeah. Well, one of the things you want to do, I'll stop the share here for a minute. But like if you guys are trying to do SEO, one of the most important things that you can do is your user experience. That is now considered on-page optimization. It used to be just, about the content and the tags and all that stuff. But it's much more important now that the user actually gets a good experience and consumes your site, engages with your site, because Google sees that. So that is really job number one, that you figure out what it takes to engage your audience. What are they interested in? And, that's your business. If you're not providing a good experience for your customers, your business can't thrive. So if you figure out, what their language is, what's important to them, and you have that kind of content on your site, they should be engaged. They should be very engaged, and you'll have that piece of the puzzle licked. The next piece to the on page is getting them there. It's getting the clicks. So your title and your description is like the most important thing that you're going to do in the behind the scenes optimization of your on-page SEO. Title and description is everything, because when Google actually puts you up, that's all somebody has to look at to decide if they're going to click you versus the other 9 people on the page. So that's a really important thing. And then other things like and these are more important today, and again, everything I'm telling you boils down to the user experience. I guarantee you, there's everything I'm going to talk about right now boils down to the user experience. The artificial intelligence, Google's rank brain algorithm, is watching every step. So title and description, why is it important? Get the clicks, user experience. Engagement on the site, user experience. Fast load speeds. You have to optimize your site to be lean and load fast. Why is that important? User experience on mobile. If somebody's looking at your site on a mobile device and it doesn't load fast, they're out of there. They're going to hit the back button. Again, back to user experience. Is it mobile friendly? Does it look good when you look at it on a phone? Or is it just a disaster? Again, user experience. I guarantee you, it all boils down to that. All boils down to, are you going to convert or not? Because Google does not want to send people to a site that they get a bad experience. That plain and simple. That's just the reality of it. Then next, let's assume you've got your site is optimized for load speed. The code is clean. You've got a good title and description. You've got your site converting. You've got good engagement. Everything is good to go. The site is looking good from a user perspective in every way, shape, and form. Now you've done your job. You've done your on-page optimization. The next thing you need to do now is off-page optimization. This is how the rest of the world shines a light on your site. And some of the things that are important about that is incoming links. Google sees links. Those are like popularity votes for your site. If no one in the world links to your website, how important could it be? Nobody cares about it. Google sees that. If a lot of people link to your site with really interesting anchor text, the clickable part of the text in the page, linking to your site, that tells Google what they're sending them there for. So having keywords in that anchor text, not just having a million links with the same keyword, but having all those links varied and have them be believable. You know, like have somebody say, hey, click here to learn about this thing. Jim is really good at this. That if that whole string was a link, that would be an awesome anchor text link, because it tells Google what the site is about. It tells the user what the site's about. So when Google sees that text, it's going to anticipate what's on the other side. When it gets there and it sees a match, that's a trust factor. So it's important that your links create trust. Putting the links on relevant sites creates trust. If you've got a, let's say you've got a site where you're building roller skates. Say you have a roller skate site and you're linking to stuff that is totally not related to roller skates. Why is that a relevant link? Why would someone on that site be clicking on roller skates? Doesn't make sense. And the fact that no one clicks it is even worse. So you want to build links on pages that have your avatar on them. You're baiting them to come over and engage in your content. Like all the social media sites too. If you create links in social media that don't make sense, no one follows them. Like if you put a link to your business opportunity on your personal Facebook page and all your friends are there, but your customers are not, nobody's going to click it. That's something that I think that Gregory is facing, is he's fishing in the wrong ponds. So if you had a business page and you had followers that are interested in that, and you post the link on that page, and that link will get engaged with. People will come through, Google will see that. If you're in other people's pages, like let's say you join groups, Facebook is loaded with groups of people that are very highly relevant to each other. There's groups on there of common topics. If you go in and your avatar is swimming in that pond and you go in that pond to fish, you're probably going to catch something. Hopefully you'll catch a fish in there. If you're fishing in a pond that doesn't have your fish in it, you're going to catch nothing. So having a link in there where all those people are talking about what you're talking about, and you put a link that's relevant and they could click it and now go to your site to get more information of something they're interested in, back to the same thing. Google sees that. SEO, you will be rewarded for relevance. You'll be rewarded for engagement. You will be rewarded for providing a good user experience. If you provide a good user experience, I guarantee you Google wants to send you traffic. If you do not, they do not. You've got to play their game. You have to understand why they're in business, what they're doing, what their goals and objectives are. And if you're on board with that, you'll do well. If you're against that and you're just, trying to get people onto your site for the sake of stats, that's not going to work anymore. That worked once a long time ago, but that does not work anymore. So anyway, hopefully that for everybody, I hope that is really kind of a good overview of what SEO is all about now. The other thing is, another thing that's really, really important, and this is a huge factor that Google sees and looks at, is do people know the name of your business, or do they know your name, and do they know what your specialty is, what's attached to that? That would be your keywords. Do they associate your keywords with your business? And that's brand. So again, brand has transitioned into being a part of SEO because of the user factor. When users know a brand, let's say you search for a keyword, you search for a particular keyword, and you don't see what you're looking for because you want it from a particular brand, and you go back and you revise the search, and you search the same keyword, but you've appended the brand to it now that you're looking for. That sends a really clear message to Google that, hey, this business is known for this particular thing, and that's what this person was looking for. So when they ran the first search, I didn't give them what they wanted. They had to tell me more specifically what it was. When Google hears that enough times, their AI gets smart and it anticipates, oh, well, I'm going to bet that the next guy that starts to search for this keyword wants that brand also. So who do you think they'll recommend? That's the way SEO is working now. It's a really shitty deal for all the guys that know all the old school SEO stuff, because that stuff's not important anymore. It is and it isn't. Link building, is it still important? Yes, but for a totally different reason. On-page optimization, code optimization, speed optimization, is that still important? Yes, but for a totally different reason. So if you don't know the reasoning, if you don't have that core functionality behind you and you're trying to play the SEO game, you're going to have a very rough go of it right now. From here on out, it's going to be a very, very difficult game to play. Okay, let's see. You got one more question in here. Okay, Gear says, I am a bit unsure what a no-follow link is. Okay, follow. A link is a link, right? A link is just a link, which is a clickable text or image that goes from one place to another. Normally, by default, those are follow links. It's like when a search engine comes, it's made to spider and follow those links. You can put a special piece of code into your link that will say, don't follow this link. That's a no follow link. Like on your site, basically you want to tell Google what's important by your links. So on your particular site, you might have no follow links on pages that are to your policies, your privacy policy, your terms of service. Someone could click it and go there, but a search engine's not meant to really follow it. You can also put those no follow tags on links that are going outside your site, where you don't want to send Google's spider off your site. You want to hold them there as long as you can. So you're basically saying the content on the other side of this, I don't want you to follow it, and it's a specific command to the search spiders. So that's all it is. So when you have all no follow links, there's a lot of sites out there that by default they'll put no follow on everything. So again, it's just when Google looks at something and they see you've got 10,000 links and they're all the same of anything, that's fishy. So the fact that all of your links would be follow links and you got a whole bunch of them, that's just a fishy factor. That's really all that means. So when you're getting links and people are putting links on the site for you, you can ask them, specifically, hey, could you make this a follow link, or don't make this a no follow link specifically. Anyway, hopefully that clears it up. Anybody else? Any other questions on any of the stuff we covered, or anything for that matter before we wrap up here? Okay, Jim wants to know, is there a WordPress plugin to make creating no follow links easy? There are a ton of those out there. WordPress has a plugin for just about anything that you want. They have specific SEO plugins. There's the Yoast plugin. There's one called All-in-One SEO. Both of those are probably the top SEO plugins to make a lot of the SEO on-page stuff easier for you guys. So those two are pretty much the big ones. But there are plugins. You can get plugins for just about anything that you want. Okay. Richard wants to know, what is the new reason backlinks are important and what is a legal way of getting them? Okay. Well, first of all, the legal thing, there's nothing legal or illegal about links. You know, there's nothing to worry about or be concerned. A link really is just, you know, on your site, let's say you're a webmaster, you are free to link to anyone you want. Like if you want to link and send people over to somebody, it's kind of like a referral. It's like, hey, there's some information I think you'd be interested in over on this site. Here's a link to it. It's just a helpful way to give your user a benefit, you know, help them out. Say, hey, you know, I really know about this thing, but you might be interested in this other option too, which complements what I do. It doesn't, you know, I'm not sending you to a competitor. It's just this guy has something that would help you and I don't offer that, so here's a link to them. Getting those links, you can basically ask other webmasters for them. You can create links yourself by posting in social media. You can list your site in all the directories out there. There's a whole bunch of business directories that are perfectly natural for you to list your business in, just to kind of get the word out. All of those have links going back to you. So that's always, you know, as far as Richard expanded on his question here, it says, thought you would get slapped for using Fiverr to build 1,000 links in 2 days. Yeah, that stuff used to work really well. That's not such a good idea anymore. What you want to make sure is if you do something like that, if you're buying links, make sure they're relevant links. Make sure they're coming from, you know, places that make sense, places where your avatar is hanging out, and places where that's liable to get clicked. So, Richard, did you want to come out and?
I don't know if my speaker's even working. I don't know. You got us muted or something?
Oh, I can hear you.
Oh, you can.
Yeah.
I'm back after a long sabbatical. And I want to get back into this, and I'm need to get back into it. It sounds like I've got a lot of learning to do in terms of getting back up to speed, given that things have changed significantly in the past 4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
I've been off.
It's a very different world now.
Well, the AI tools and that sort of stuff looks interesting, but when you're saying that user experience is the new SEO, you're saying all the old things that used to be true are still true, but for different reasons.
Correct.
I'm guessing that's in the trainings here somewhere, rather than having to take up time here, unless you want to do a fast recap. That'd really be appreciated. Yeah,
like if you go into the ACT program under the traffic section, there's the SEO Dominator tab, which that's you know, all my detailed SEO training. That training was done a couple of years ago when this whole shift started. I haven't done a lot of updates to it because everything that's in there is very relevant. It's all about user experience. And that's really where it still is today. I was way ahead of the curve on that when I was publishing that information. It was right on the money then, and it's still right on the money right now.
Well, John, you've always been ahead of the curve. That's why I'm paying attention to you, for heaven's sakes. And yeah. That's why we're here. I noticed you spent a whole lot of this whole new ACT thing is, it looks to me, am I correct? And that's a big departure from the way that you used to, it used to all be about SEO and SEO related. And there wasn't so much about, okay, this ACT thing seems like it's more about setting up the online business and becoming an online entrepreneur and that sort of thing, as opposed to being about how to get your site to rank, and which is what I thought your in the past has been what your forte was. It seems like that's expanded. Have I got that right?
Well, here's the deal with that. You're absolutely right, and here's the reason why I made the shift, and why the whole ACT program now is so important. The ACT program is all about the conversion piece that I never focused on before. For many, many years, for a couple of decades, I've basically just trained on SEO. When I realized the shift was coming, and the shift was basically already here, that user engagement was going to become like the new currency for SEO, the ACT program really is how to do that. The ACT program is how to figure out who is my actual avatar, what are my segments. Like when I was doing the review on Jim's site earlier, I was talking about him segmenting his site, because every avatar from a different segment is going to speak a different language, and if you don't have that languaging down, you're not going to get them to engage with you, and Google's going to see that, and now your SEO is shot down. I don't care how good your linking is or how good all of the rest of your SEO factors are. If Google sends you traffic and they don't engage, they're not going to send you any more. So
wow,
that's
pretty sophisticated stuff.
I mean, that's the bottom line to this game now, is Google knows if they send traffic and they didn't get a good user experience, they don't want to send more traffic there.
Well, because it seemed like the unspoken thing was a conversion. I mean, the reason you were doing SEO was for conversions. I mean, and to get people there, but to actually name it is, I can see why that would be significant and important.
Yeah, see, SEO is of traffic. SEO is traffic, and I can send all the traffic in the world to a horrible site, and it's never going to convert, and you're never going to make sales. Google has figured out how to determine that.
That's the point. Is Google's determined how to figure that, has figured out how to tap into that. That is kind of them looking under your skirt, so to speak.
Yeah, they have access. They know exactly what a good user experience is now. So they have just become incredibly hard to game, and that's really bad news for most of the SEO industry. That's why, if you look at guys that have been in SEO for back from when I started, they're all gone. they're all gone. I mean, find somebody that started when I started that's still in and still effective.
Well, they don't have 10,000 sites that they're managing and testing every 2 minutes, so it's not surprising. I mean, when I found that out early on, I figured, okay, who has actually got that much skin in the game? And there's darn few people that put anywhere near that level of thought and skin in the game that you put in there, which really speaks to why you're worthwhile spending time and money with, for sure.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I've always done this as a business. I have never done this as just for fun. This has always been a business, and I've done it for other business owners. I never focused any of my skills on myself, which, is kind of ridiculous. It's kind of a waste on my part, but I've always done this for other businesses. It's like, I've had people, this cracks me up. I've had people that didn't want to hire me because they look at my website and they say, well, you don't rank for this and that. And I'm like, well, do you want to pay me for ranking my own stuff, or would you rather pay somebody to rank your stuff? It's like, if you don't get it, you don't deserve it. So goodbye.
The one question I do have, I noticed that you do spend, I mean, people are talking about avatars in a lot of places, but the level to which when I finally found your workbook, I mean, the first half of the whole workbook, I mean, I don't know exactly how many pages, but 60 or 70 pages, 35 of them about your avatar.
Yeah.
And my thought was, obviously you think that's really, 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 and we'll put another really on there, important. And yet, if you're doing an ad, I keep calling it AdSense, it's now Google Ads, but if you're trying to do Google Ads arbitrage or affiliate link things, is the avatar really that important? I mean, if someone's Googling for SEO work, I don't care whether they're 450, 100 years old, and whether the male, female, or to be determined. I mean,
well, there's some factors about an avatar that don't matter. Like in some cases, the age of your avatar might not matter. In some cases, it might matter a lot.
And how do you make that determination? That kind of is the unspoken question.
That is based on who you're after and what you're trying to offer them.
Okay.
So and that truly is why the whole analysis piece, the analysis piece of the ACT program is probably half of the system. And it's because we have to know who we're talking to and what's important to them to create and craft messages that will actually convert before we drive the traffic to them. That's why it's ACT, analysis, creation, and traffic, in that order. The traffic is absolutely worthless without the first two pieces. The creation is impossible without the analysis. And I'll tell you, I didn't create the system. I basically replicated what the ad agencies do. This is the ad agency model. This is how they create marketing campaigns that win every time without fail. They spend the majority of their time and effort up front before the campaign is even started to be crafted. They need to know everything about the avatar. And like you'll notice when I start into my avatar training, I don't go into avatar first. I go into segmentation first. You cannot create an avatar unless you've identified the segment that they live in.
Okay.
So, and here's where this kind of boils down to the real world. This is something that I tell everybody with no uncertainty, is nothing works online that didn't first work in the real world. Because the online, the internet, all of this stuff is just a new delivery system of old messaging. That's really all it is.
It's all direct marketing.
Exactly. So it's all direct marketing and it's all sales. And if you have a salesperson, if you follow and watch a really good salesperson, I'll tell you exactly what they do. They will start asking questions. They'll make observations. And what they're doing is they're figuring out what your language is before they start trying to sell you anything. They figure out what's important to you. Sometimes they'll see and they'll get clues by your environment. Like if they come out to you, they'll take a quick look around your office and they're going to make some assumptions and some assessments about what's important to you. If you have pictures of your family behind you and on your desk, they're going to make an assumption. This is a family guy. I know some things about him right now. Like if you could make an assumption about me from looking at me right now, what's behind me? A big old fish.
It's basically that not having to pay for postage has made people lazy.
Exactly. Yeah. So the salesperson, they make the observations, they make some, predetermined assumptions on those observations, and what they can't fill in the blanks, they'll start asking questions. And they'll ask questions, getting your answers, figuring out what's important to you, and then and only then will they talk back to you about what's important to you. They will bring back exactly what you said, and they will connect you to their product, and they'll make a sale. A really good salesperson does that.
Absolutely, they do that. And the one thing that I was kind of puzzled was talking to one guy, and he was really sold on the fact that if you want to do an AdWords kind of arbitrage system that a really good market is dogs, because it's a really broad market, and he was going on about that. And so I said, okay, I'm going to look at this through the lens of dogs. You say, okay, who likes dogs? And you're kind of like, oh my God, what are you talking? I mean, how do I say who likes dogs? I mean, that's like, my brain goes into 1, 2, 3, many, it's like, where do you even start? Because even the people like Purina, and they spend millions of dollars every 2 years surveying every pet owner in the country to find out how many people own goldfish and what kind, and it's like, even they don't know, really. I mean, they can give you the numbers, but who likes dogs? Who's going to click on a link because you got a cute dog bouncing up and down or something? It's like,
yeah. See, that's not specific. That's based on a market, not an avatar. And
exactly.
The last time I checked, markets don't carry credit cards.
Well, that's the point. So I mean, that was the part that really had me scratching my noggin is, okay, how do I pull apart an avatar? I mean, give me one avatar for any 6 people that you work with, and all of them like dogs. So how do I make that differentiation between, okay, they like dogs, how do I know they're going to click on the site? Or, I mean,
well, like for instance, that example is, who cares? Who cares who likes dogs? You have to look at, what am I selling? Am I selling a product that would appeal to a German Shepherd owner? And then the question is, who likes German Shepherds?
Well, is that really relevant if all you're trying to do is that the old arbitrage of clicks and that sort of stuff to get people on the site? Because even on the dog sites, I was looking at, okay, what does he put? And on the dog sites, he's got gold coins, and he's got other things. It's like, I don't see the link between that and dog ownership, as I'm missing that, and so I'm puzzling with.
Well, the whole thing with arbitrage is basically buying cheap traffic and redirecting it to expensive offers.
Right. That's exactly the model he's talking about, and given what I know about SEO and that sort of stuff, is don't worry about having a keywords in your site title, and the only thing that really matters is backlinks. So go out and get backlinks, and it's like, wait a minute, I'm sorry.
Well, an example of how to use arbitrage today is getting really, really specific to where nobody's buying that traffic. It's natural for people to look at stats and get confused. Like they look at dogs and they say, oh, well, 10 million people search for dogs. So that's where that's the traffic I want to buy. Well, that's really expensive traffic because all those idiots are trying to buy it.
Exactly.
And it's not going to convert. But if you get down to like, spiked dog collars specifically for training a German Shepherd, there's very few people that are going to buy that keyword because only 50 people are searching for it. But I guarantee you, every one of those 50 wants to buy that collar. And you can buy cheap traffic to send it to. That makes a lot more sense, doesn't it?
That makes sense, but that seems like a really bongo board kind of business model. I mean, talk about a slippery business model and things that can change, and what's different today is different tomorrow, and you get a site and you're optimizing for spiked dog collars. All of a sudden now, what do they call it, sequined dog collars are all of a sudden a big deal, and nobody's buying spiked dog. I mean, it's like, well, there does not seem to be much stability in that, which is why your ACT program looks like it has a whole lot more stability, because now you design an avatar that fits. And now that avatar there's always going to be women 30 to 35 that likes dogs and pink and want tattoos, kind of a thing. And if you just walk by that, there will always be those people out there.
Exactly. But that example, like spiked dog collar for training a German Shepherd, That's not something that's going to go out of style. That's going to be a need that exists today, that's going to exist tomorrow. Like they're always going to need to train German Shepherds. And if the spike dog collar does the trick and that's what you're selling and it provides a solution to that problem, that's a solid thing forever.
That makes perfect sense. And the way that I understood that this particular thing that I was looking at just out of the curiosity, trying to get, like I said, trying to get my sea legs back underneath here to find out what's going on and who's on first. That just, there was something about that. This just, 3 into 2 doesn't go, and it just didn't make sense. And what you're saying and the way that you're doing it, okay, go out there and, like you said, this is called do your homework, figure out who your avatar is, and now you're designing for that.
Yeah, and you might have 10 different avatars. So if that's the case, you need to figure out each one of them, and you need to create pages on your site for each one of them. You need to have like a whole user experience for each different avatar.
Well, I certainly see that now. That certainly makes sense, and that's why I was trying. John, that's why I'm willing to pay you the big bucks there to be able to sort this out, because how long could it take me to figure that out on my own if I couldn't say, okay, what's been going on while I've been under the weather here for the last 3 or 4 years.
No, that
I could spend all kinds of time and money and never figure it out, because I don't even know the right questions to ask.
Yeah, well, that's the reality of the situation, good, bad, or ugly. That's just the truth. That's where we are today.
Well, it sounds to me, and if there's other people that want to talk, I don't mean to be monopolizing you here, but the thing about AI at this point, it really isn't all that intelligent. So the fact that you can game it a little bit with the software makes perfect sense. And then you add the caveat, though, okay, we're going to game it a little bit and have traffic show up. But if you haven't done the other side of it, if they know that, okay, that we send you traffic, it's showing up, but nobody cares.
That's right.
That's a great big,
Yeah, you just shot yourself in the foot.
It's not, because now they're not going to come back and check and see if you fixed it later.
Yeah, well, if you continue to send the other signals, that you can, it's an ongoing thing. It's learning.
Yeah.
So you just have to stay in front of it.
Wow. Okay. Well, John, I really appreciate you kind of pulling back the curtain there, because now I have a correct lens through which to look at this stuff.
Well, cool.
And thank you much. That's why we're here and why we're back on board with you. Thank you much. We speak your name a lot for people that are interested in doing that sort of thing. And it's amazing to see the reactions when you say the name John Limbacher, and that look comes across their face of, oh, no shit, you really know what you're talking about. You know who's real and who's not out there. It's like, wow, okay. So thanks for the street cred. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Use my name whenever you like.
Thanks, John.
Sure, absolutely. And welcome back. Good to have you back on board.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Give somebody else a chance here.
All right. Well, actually, we're going to close out. We've been on here hour and a half. Unless if anybody's got anything, I'm happy to stay on here and help out. But doesn't look like it. So I think we're good for today. All right, guys. Well, have a great, happy Halloween tonight. Be safe out there if you venture out, and we will see you back here next week, same time. Until then, have a great one.